Okay, so now we've got the basics of the game working, we need to add in some more sprites. And the sprites we're going to add in are going to be the food items that we're going to run over. So we're going to do that again by simply going to upload sprites from file. And we will be finding those sprites, which we know is in curriculum on G drive. And in the Year 5 folder, in Scratch, Resources, and we have Foods. Now what we should be able to do is just click the check at the top, select all of those and import all of those in one go. So let's see about that. And there we go. We have all of the foods now imported. So you can see down here we have a whole bunch of sprites all imported. Now they're just dumped randomly and the sizing of them is a little to be desired, so we can resize them. So I'm now currently on the fish. If I just use the shrink button here, I can shrink it down to a size that's appropriate, move off it, and now I can drag it around. It's still a bit big, and that looks a bit better. Okay, so now I can put in all of the foods wherever I wish them to go. Okay, so I'm just going to drag these around and resize them all to fit. It should only take a moment or two, I hope. Okay, so we're starting to get the food going in where it needs to be. Some of these are a little bit big and a bit small. This one is still a bit big, I think. The chips are a good size. Better make the meat somewhat smaller. And we can see how these can all be placed around to fit. Now I'm just throwing these in randomly at the moment, but you should probably have a plan as to where they're going to go to allow the person the opportunity to avoid bad food or not. You may force them to have to eat some bad things regardless, so that would be an interesting concept to think about, but make sure if you're going to do that you have thought through how it all works. What do we got? We got that. We might pop a bit of decent food there. That will do there. Alright, so something like that. So now we can move around. They're all placed. Now if I was to click and start the game, I can move around, but I'm just driving behind each of these things, and some of them I'm actually getting sent back, because when I get to the hot dog here, I'm actually hitting a black line on the outside, so that's a bit of a problem. How could I fix that? So all of these that have a black line around them, if I go to the actual drawing, I could simply put a white square around them to make sure that I don't hit any black before I get to the actual object, is what I'm trying to say. So I could have something like that to force. So now if I come around to the pizza, the pizza's in the middle. if I move the pizza up to here, for example, when I move through that, it lets me move through it. But let's not worry about that just for the moment, because we've got more important things that we need to take care of. So we've got the sprite there. What do we want to actually happen every time the mouth comes across a food item? Well, we want that food item to disappear, and we want the score, according to our guide here, to either increase. So if the food's eaten, if it's unhealthy, we want to reduce our score. If it is healthy, we want to increase our score. So that's what we need to do here. So let's begin. Let's use this piece of fruit because it's at the top, and let's create some code that's going to allow that to happen. So this is an event that we're going to start with the flag, and we want to show our bit of fruit because at the moment it's automatically appearing, but we will make all the fruit disappear at the end, all the food disappear at the end, so that when we start it, it resets all of the food to where we can see it. So we're going to show it, and then we want, as usual, our forever loop, because we want to keep on checking this, and we want to check if we are touching Sprite 2. So if that food is touching Sprite 2, then we want to hide that piece of fruit, so make it disappear, and then we want to do something with score, but at the moment we have no way of doing a score, so we'll come back to scoring in just a second. Let's see if this is going to work. So if I come across to the fruit, as soon as I touch it, it now disappears. So that's working well. If I do it to other things, it doesn't work. If I stop the game and I restart it, my fruit comes back because I have the show here to reset the fruit at the beginning of the game. Alrighty. So we need to do something to get a score happening, and to do that we need to create a variable. So we're going to make a variable and we're going to call it score. And when we create it, up the top here pops up a box called score. So that's what we want. And we said after we eat the piece of fruit, we want our score to change. So we don't want to set it, we want to change the score by 1 or more if it's a good thing. You might have a piece of fruit as 1 point for that, or you might say milk and cheese, well, that's 2 points. Fish might be 5 points. So we can adjust this to suit. So let's see if that is going to work now. So let's start. Our score is currently 0. As we move across, we hit that and our score has increased by 1. So that's awesome. That's exactly what we need to happen. So we need that piece of code now to go on to all of these. Now that could take a long time, unless of course you use the duplicate. So if I go right click and duplicate and then bring it over here and actually click on the sprite, I've copied that bit of text. Now if I click on vegetables, that code is in vegetables. So I'm going to do some right clicking, duplicate and place this piece of code on each of these. So that'll just take a moment to get that done. So that's what we need to get done, and once we've got that under control, that's pretty much all of the things we need to do in our second tutorial, and I'm going to let you go ahead and do all of that so that you'll know you've got it, because every time you click on a new one of these, it will have that code sitting there. I haven't done ice cream yet, so I need to continue doing that, but you don't need to sit and watch me doing that. Alright, so good luck with that, and I'll see you in the next one.